Welcome to Making Charts for Final Project 205. We're going to make charts with Microsoft Excel in this video. If you're planning on using Google Sheets, stop watching now and watch the other video instead. So we need a few things open for this to work. One, we're going to open up Microsoft Excel as seen here. We're also going to need to go to the internet and open up a couple tabs. The Census Bureau and the Economy at a Glance tab from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. There's links to both of those in the directions for Final Project 205. So we've got the Census Bureau website here, and then the Bureau of Labor Statistics / Economy at a Glance here. And these are two websites we need to get this project done. Let's go back to Excel and set it up to get the charts that we need to finish this project. The first chart that we're going to make today is the percent of bachelor's degree for your city, the state your city is in, versus the national average. So in cell A1, we're going to type in percent of bachelor's degree and hit enter. And that's okay if percent of bachelor's degree spills over into B1 and C1. That doesn't matter. Now we need to put in our city in A2, the state our city's in B2, and the US in C2. For this example, I'm going to use Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm going to type in Cleveland into A2. I'm use the abbreviation for Ohio in B2. And I'm going to use US in C2. So I need to find the percentage of bachelor's degree for all three of these areas. And I'm going to use the Census Bureau to go do that. So back in the Census Bureau's webpage, I'm going to go to the very top in the search bar. And I'm going to type the name of my city. And behind that, I'm going to type in Quick Facts, because that's the page I really need. So I'm going to type in Cleveland Quick Facts and wait for the Census Bureau's website to return back that information I need. Now I do need to be careful, and some of you do as well, to make sure that I get the right statistics. If your team is in New York, you want to make sure that you're finding the New York City statistics and not the New York State statistics yet. If your team's in Los Angeles, you want to make sure you're finding the Los Angeles City Quick Facts and not the Los Angeles County Quick Facts. Those are two different numbers. I've got the same thing going on here. The first Quick Facts hit that comes back is for Cleveland County, North Carolina. I don't need that. I see Cleveland City, Mississippi, Cleveland City, Tennessee, Cleveland City, Arkansas. I need to go down until I find Cleveland City, Ohio. So this is really about half a dozen or more results down. So you do need to make sure that you're finding the right information there. But I know this is right, Cleveland City, Ohio. So now I'm on the Quick Facts page for Cleveland, Ohio. And on the right-hand side of that page, I've got a column for all the statistics for Cleveland that I'm looking for at the moment. The first statistic we're looking for is percent of bachelor's degree. That's going to be under a category called education. So we need to scroll down and go to the education category. Now I found it right here, bachelor's degree or higher for people 25 or older in Cleveland. That number is 16.6%. So I can copy and paste that into Excel, or I can just type it in there. So I'm going to go back to Excel and type in 16.6%. And I'm going to put the percentage in there. It doesn't matter if you put percent in or not. The important thing is if you use percent for Cleveland, you also need to use percent for Ohio and use percent for the United States. If you don't use the percent sign for Cleveland, then don't use it for Ohio and don't use it for the United States. Otherwise, your chart is going to be out of whack. Now I need to go find the Ohio statistics for percent of bachelor's degree. I'm going to go back to the Census Bureau's website to do that. I'm going to stay on the same page I was on before and go up to the very top in the Census Bureau. And I'm going to do a search from here for Ohio. And again, I want to make sure I'm using the right statistic. I've got several results here for some counties in Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, and then an Ohio township in Pennsylvania. Don't want any of those. I want Ohio the state, which is the first one. So I'm going to click on that, and the Census Bureau has given me on the same page a second column that's got Ohio on here. I'm going to scroll down to education again, and I want to find the percent of bachelor's degree or higher for the state of Ohio. So Cleveland was 16.6%. For the state of Ohio itself, it's 27.8%. So I'm going to go back to Excel and type in Ohio, 27.8%. And because I used percentage before, I'm going to keep using it again to keep the format consistent. I need to go back to the Census Bureau one more time and scroll up to the top. I've got my city average, I've got my state average. Now I need the national average for this. So I'm going to start typing in United States and click on the United States result. Now I've got a third column that says United States. I'm going to find the same information for that as well. I'm going to scroll down to education, and the bachelor's degree or higher for the United States is 31.5%. So I'm going to go back to Excel and type in 31.5%. Now I'm ready to make this chart. The first thing I need to do is tell Excel what I want to make a chart of. I need to tell Excel what data labels I want to use and what data itself I want to use for this chart. The easy way to do this is go to the upper left-hand corner of whatever you need and drag to the lower right. So the first cell I need is Cleveland itself. So I'm going to click on the Cleveland cell, A2. And in Excel, it's important that my cursor stays as this white plus here. I don't want to move my cursor over the border and turn it into those arrows that point in 4 directions. And I don't want to move my cursor to the lower left-hand corner of that cell and make it turn into that crosshair. It's very important that when I start selecting these cells, that my cursor looks like that white plus there. So if it looks like the white plus, you're ready to select the cells that you need. And we need to select 6 cells here. We need to select Cleveland, Ohio, and the US from cell A2 to cell C2. And we also need to select the data in row 3 from A3 to C3. So I'm going to take my mouse and left click and hold the left button down on Cleveland. And I'm going to drag down to row 3. So I've got 16.6% there. Keeping the left click mouse held down, I'm going to drag over and also select all the way to cell C3 and cell C2, the US data for percent of bachelor's degree. It's important when I do this, I don't select too much. So if you've selected row 4, you don't want to have row 4 selected. If you selected column D, you don't want to have column D selected either. You just want to select these 6 cells. If you do make a mistake, just click out and start over and reselect to make sure you selected just those 6 cells. Now you're ready to make your first chart. All of us may have different versions of Excel, and your version of Excel may look different from what you see on the screen, but there's a couple simple ways to go find your chart generators here. There's 2 ways to do that. One way is just to go to Insert, and this is probably the easier way to do it. So we're going to go to the Insert tab at the top, and again, your version of Excel may look different from this if you've got an older version of it. But in charts, I just want to make a bar chart here. So I'm going to click on that bar chart. And I do have some options, 2D column, 3D column, 2D bar, 3D bar. I would stay away from the bar charts and do the columns. If you want to do 3D column, that's fine. I'm going to do 2D column here for simplicity. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And now I've got my 2D column chart, 4% of bachelor's degree. Let me zoom back out so I can see what I've got here. So I've got Cleveland, Ohio, United States. I want to move this out of the way a little bit so I can still see the data I selected. I want to put a chart title in here as well, and the chart title should be percentage bachelor's degree, and that's just a good practice to do when you're making charts to put in a research paper or any kind of paper so your reader knows what they're looking at. In Excel, all I need to do is roll my mouse over chart title and double click on it, And I'm going to hold down Control and A to select all. And I'm simply going to put in percent of bachelor's degree. I've got this format chart title here. I'm going to close that out. I don't need it. Now from here, if you want to leave it with the default Excel, that's fine. If you want to work with Excel and change it to some of these other styles of charts and change the colors as well, that's fine too. Just make sure it's readable, but you can make it look like this if you want. So you've got that first chart ready to go. I'm going to undo some of these things and get back to what the standard Excel is. Now I want to make my second chart, and my second chart is going to be median household income. I'm going to zoom back in to get started on that. And I'm going to start in column E for this. It really doesn't matter where you start, whether it's E, F, G, H, wherever. I'm going to do it here to keep it simple. So in column E1, I'll start typing in median household income. And again, in row 2, I'm going to have the same thing I had before. I'm going to put Cleveland, and then Ohio, and then the US in back-to-back columns, just like I did before. So now I need to find that information for median household income. And that's also in the Census Bureau. This is going to be very simple to find because we've already found the statistics. We just need to go get them. So let's go back to the Census Bureau's webpage, and we're going to go down to a section called Income and Poverty. So we have a median household income here, and we need all three of these numbers. So the number on the far so the number on the far right-hand side of our screen should be our city number. So in Cleveland, the median household income is $29,008. So I need to put that into my Excel spreadsheet. And you can copy and paste that or type it in. Again, with formats, if you're going to use the $ for this for Cleveland or your city, then keep using the $ for your state and the national average as well. So let me go back and find the Ohio median household income. The Ohio median household income is $54,533. So I'm going to go back into Excel and put that number in there. And now I need to find the national median household income. And again, all of us should be using the same number for this. So the median household income in America is $60,293. Now I've got these numbers. I'm ready to make my second chart. Again, I'm going to select 6 cells. I'm going to select my city, my state, and US. And then I'm going to select my data. So I can left click on my city, Cleveland. I'm going to click down to row 3 and to the right to get all 6 of these cells. Again, if you select too much, you want to click and start over again. It's important to do just those 6 cells. Again, we're going to go to Insert and then go to Charts. Again, your version of Excel may look a little bit different. And I'm going to make that chart title again match what I had before. Let me also move that out of the way a little bit. So I'm going to click on the chart title and then click on Control A to select it and then call it median household income. So now I know what it looks like and I can read it when I see it in your paper. So I've got 2 charts so far. I'm done with the Census Bureau website at this point. The last thing I need to do is make a chart for the unemployment rate. I'm going to start that chart in column J, and in cell J1, I'm going to type in unemployment rate. And then in J2, K2, and L2, it's going to be the same data labels I had before: Cleveland, Ohio, and then US. This time I'm not going to use the Census Bureau. We're going to use the Bureau of Labor Statistics for this one statistic only. So when we go back to our web browser, we're going to go to the BLS website, and this link again is in your directions for Final Project 205. This time we're going to work a little bit backwards. Instead of looking at our city first and then the state information and then the United States information, we're going to look at the United States information and then the state information and then your city information. So we're going to work backwards for that, but it really doesn't matter at the end of all this. So for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we have this big map of America. To the left of that, there's a link that says Browse EAG and then US Economy. We want to click on the US Economy. And the US Economy on this page is actually the first row of data, unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate is the percentage people that are looking for a job that can't find one. So the lower the number, the better. For the national average in America for the last month recorded in September of 2020, that number was 7.9. So that's what I need to put in there. And that is a percentage. I can choose to use it or not. But again, if I'm going to use percent, keep it consistent. So I'm going to go back to unemployment rate. And remember, we're starting with the US and working our way to the left this time. So that number is 7.9%. And again, if you're going to use percent, make sure you use percent for all the numbers. If you're not going to use percent, don't use the percent for any of the numbers. So now I need to find the Ohio unemployment rate. I need to go back to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And on the left-hand side of this page, we have a list of all 50 states. So I am just going to scroll down until I find Ohio. And I'm going to click on Ohio. And that takes me right to the data table for Ohio. And unemployment rate is at the very top of this data. It is important. Make sure you're not using unemployment. Make sure you're using the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is percentage. We want to compare apples to apples here. So the latest data for Ohio was September of 2020, and that rate was 8.4%. So I'm going to go back to my Excel spreadsheet and type in 8.4%. So 2 numbers down, 1 last number to go. For me, that's Cleveland. So back on the Bureau of Labor Statistics page, and this applies to every page they have, once you're on the state page, if you scroll up to the top of your state's page, you're going to see a map of your state. So on that map, I just need to find Cleveland and click on it. So Cleveland's in the upper northeast corner of Ohio. So I'm going to click on Cleveland, and then I'm going to get the numbers for Cleveland itself. And I need to scroll down just a little bit here. So now I'm in a similar table to what I saw before for Ohio. So again, I'm looking for unemployment rate, not unemployment. The unemployment rate for Cleveland for the last month they have data for is 9.9%. So I'm going to go back to my Excel spreadsheet and put in 9.9%. So now I have all the data I need to make my third and final chart. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to select 6 cells to highlight to tell Excel what we need to make that chart with. We'll go to Insert one last time. We're going to make another bar chart here. And I'll do 3D column just because it's something different. And I'm going to put that chart over here. And one last time, I want to change that chart title so I know what I'm looking at. And more importantly, my reader knows what he or she is looking at. So now I have unemployment rate. I've got my 3 charts now. The last 2 things I want to do, A, is save this file. So I would save this as Final Project 205. And the last thing you need to do is click on each one of these and copy it and then paste it into your Word document or your Google Sheet. So when you turn in your file, you're turning in one Google Doc or one Word document, and it's going to have these 3 charts as part of what you're turning in. So that's what you need to do to make these 3 charts for Final Project 205. As always, if you run into trouble and you can't get things to work or you don't understand what you're looking for, find me on Remind or on email and we'll figure it out together. Good luck.